Good morning, everybody, and Merry Christmas. It's Christmas Day 2024, and I'm out for a little morning walk. I can see some snow in the mountains off in the distance, so it's kind of a white Christmas here in town. A little wet and rainy, but the sun's starting to peek out. Beautiful day so far. Today I'm working on finishing up a really special project. I'll tell you a little story about the origins of this project. I had a pretty awesome childhood. I was raised by the world's most awesome single mom and never knew who my dad was and never had any brothers and sisters. Fast forward to when I was 50 years old. I'm 54 now. My mom passed away and it was a really tough time, as you can expect. And after my mom passed away, I got curious to find out who my dad was. Didn't really expect to meet him or find long lost family. Just was really kind of curious to see what he looked like more than anything. So I sent in a little slobber to have my DNA tested. And a few months later, on a Sunday morning, I got an email that said I was matched with a half sister. I fell out of my chair. I was so excited. It was a wild mix of emotions, excitement, surprise, wonder. I ended up connecting with my sister and found out that I'm not an only child. I'm actually one of 8. Really hard to believe. And for the first time in my life, I'm an uncle and a brother. I found out I've got about a dozen nieces and nephews, and it has been nothing short of incredible. So after connecting with my first sister, I found out who my dad was, and I got to meet him and develop a relationship with him before he passed away. And it was fabulous. It was really something special that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. And when he passed away, my sisters and brothers-in-law did an amazing thing for me, and they gifted me with my dad's guitar. Just an amazing, generous, and kind thing for them to do. It's funny how it's turned out that I have so many things in common with my dad. We both love motorcycles, and we both play guitar. They gave me his old classical guitar, which had seen better days. It was a little dirty and the strings were worn and ancient. So I took some time to really clean it up, restring it, and bring it back to life. And I videoed the process. So today I'm working on finishing up the video that I made of cleaning up the guitar and restringing it. So here's a special holiday tribute to Papa Joe and his music. Okay, so I set up shop in the wood shop in my garage, and here's what it looked like when I first started. The strings on this guitar had to be at least 10 years old. Who knows, they could have been 20 or 30 years old, but they were ancient. It's interesting, you'll see on this third string, if you're counting from the top, it actually has a little silver circle on the end of it. That's actually a steel string designed for a steel string acoustic guitar, more of a standard guitar. This is a classical guitar which takes nylon strings. So what that means is Pops had to make a last minute emergency repair. He busted a string probably when he was playing somewhere, and then all he had left to repair it was a steel string. So way to make it happen, Pops. There's a close-up of the steel string. I popped the bridge out with the blower right there. Underneath that bridge, there's an electronic pickup because this particular model of guitar has an electronic system in it that allows you to plug it into an amplifier so you can play to a big crowd. There it is. From what I understand, Pops was not a shy person, so he probably had a good time playing to as big a crowd as he could get in front of. To take the strings off, I loosened them from the top and then I clipped them. I'm using a tuning tool right there to make removing the strings a little bit faster and easier. The strings on here were so old they flopped around like wet spaghetti noodles. They were definitely worn out. There's a shot of the new nylon strings that I'm going to restring it with. A couple of the strings were kind of tied in knots around the posts that they wind around, so I had to get a pick after it to get the knots untied. The larger strings are wound with metal and they have a nylon core to them, and they tend to kind of lock on the tuners a little bit more so than the unwrapped nylon strings.
tonight, now it's gonna be your last. And now my mind is a mess, my heart is pounding fast. Oh, I wish that you could stay. I don't care about the other one, I don't care about what you done. Oh, I wish that you could stay. I don't know how it's gonna be, but it's gonna be you and me. From the look in your eyes, you need to get away, but I'll make you promise me that you'll come back someday. So let's make the most of it. I remember what you said.
Okay, now I've got the strings off, and the next job was to clean and polish everything. I'll speed this part up a little bit because I polished on this thing for quite a while. This is some specialized guitar polish that I picked up at a music store, and I scrubbed every little corner and crevice on the guitar. I used a wooden chopstick to get in some of the harder to reach areas. Got all the grime out of all the little corners and just really brought it back to life. This is actually a beautiful guitar. The wood finish and the colors on it are just absolutely gorgeous. Now I know how to clean and restring a guitar, but I'm not a luthier, so I didn't do any adjustments to the truss rod or the neck or the bridge or nut height or anything like that. And honestly, I don't think it needed it. This guitar really plays quite well after putting a fresh set of strings on it. Here I'm putting an oil into the fretboard, which really brings out that deep rosewood color. It's also where a lot of finger grime builds up. They call it finger cheese. So I got all that out of there and really polished up the frets as well. All right, now we've got her all cleaned up, so time to put a new set of strings on. I've restrung my steel string guitars many times, but this is the first time I've ever restrung a classical guitar, so I had to look up some how-to videos on this. And here I'm stretching the strings out and kind of getting it close to in tune for the first time. While I was filming the regular speed, I had a time warp camera taking a different perspective. So this is a super sped up time warped version of the cleaning and restringing. I'll throw a little music on here for you guys to enjoy while I go through the process at warp speed. well, here's what she looks like now in all of her beautiful glory. I've got a music room that I play in with a bunch of friends quite often, and this guitar hangs on the wall in there and gets to be played and enjoyed and has come back to life and should be around for many more generations. Thanks, Papa Joe.